Welcome to another episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and this is another DeGam interview. This time I reached out to Broderic. He was one of the guys that as I got back into disc golf social media, I discovered on YouTube, and I watched some of his videos, and I really enjoyed his chill vibe. That whole vibe of just, let's just meet up with some friends, let's go play some disc golf and have a good time. Now, I will let you know that about toward the end, something happened on his side with the audio. So you might hear a bit of a difference in the audio quality, but it should still be good to go. All right, let's learn a little bit more about Broderic. So just real quick, just to kind of start off the whole, give me the elevator pitch of like when you hit record, and you've got a disc golf idea or disc golf video and you hit record, what is your ultimate goal?
Man. So I'll start off by saying that's something I think I'm over 3 years in, and I still feel like I don't totally know, but I'd have to say if it's anything is when you click on my video, I just want it to feel like you're playing disc golf with your friends. That's kind of been my goal, like from day one. When I first started my channel, I started it with one of my best friends. I'm actually in his house right now doing this, but like we kind of started the channel together in a way. And from day one, like I took it serious, but I always wanted the attitude to just be, hey, we're hanging out playing disc golf, and whatever I'm saying to the camera is pretty much the same conversations I'd be having just with my friends while out on the disc golf course. But now I'm recording it, and I think obviously like I'll go into different avenues every once in a while. I'll do this for a couple months. I'll do this. But I think like the heart and soul and like what my core audience watches me for is literally just to like hang out and play disc golf. And I'm lucky that I live in a van and I travel year round, and I can kind of be, I kind of try and be wherever it's 75 degrees and sunny. So maybe when people aren't playing disc golf, I still am, and they get to watch me and be like, oh, I'm sitting inside all week. I can't play, but I still get to watch you play. So I guess like, I just want to hang out with you and play disc golf. I think that's kind of like my elevator pitch, even though that might not, like, to some people, I think they're like, yes. But then some people are like, that is the worst business decision you've ever made. But all right, cool. Like,
I love that you say you travel to places that are 75 degrees, because I was out before this. I was out doing some filming, and I'm in Oklahoma, and it started heating up, and I was like, God, this is why I wish I lived in a place that was 70s all year round, because it was climbing toward 80s very fast, and that get pretty hot when you're out in the middle of a field with the sun beating down on you. So what is kind of your vibe? For me, the ones that I've watched are kind of like, even your music is kind of like, I don't know if I want to call it lo-fi, but just kind of chill type music, kind of like you said, just hanging out. Are there some creators that you follow that kind of inspired that? Or you're just like, I'm just going to be me, and this is what I'm just going to grab a camera and film it?
I feel like, I think with my videos, I've always wanted them to just be like, I want to make videos that I would watch. I think every person who creates probably has some creators. I'd say like off the top of my head, like Casey Neistat and Bo Miles. I don't know if you know, like you probably know who Casey Neistat is. Bo Miles maybe is like a little more niche, but I don't know. There's a few creators, but I'm also the type who like, I like consuming, but I also like to not consume things because I almost don't want to be inspired in a way. But I think like the music and the vibe of it for me really is just like a very big part of like my personality, where like a lot of people might try and make the most fast paced, like, here's my video, blah, 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 bang, like TikTok style. Like, but for me, always been very like mellow, and like I always thought it was funny growing up. Like I played football, and like I was a pretty good football player, but I was like the player on the bus listening to like acoustic John Mayer, while everyone else is listening to like rap music or whatever. Like my hype was like acoustic John Mayer sets on YouTube. And so I think that it like almost translates to like that kind of chill vibe of really, I don't know, I feel like it's a way to kind of let the videos breathe too in a time period where content is very, very fast paced in your face. I kind of want to try and keep it almost like the complete opposite, I guess, but still in a way that you're like enjoying the whole product. Like I don't want it to be like long and drawn out and boring, but I want it to be like mellow and like comforting almost, I guess. You know? But then again, like I have some videos that are the most like I'm one of the creators who's a little more like I don't know, like rated R on some videos where like me and my friends will be there are no rules. Like if I get demonetized on that video, I take the L and like we let it rip. And that's just like how it is. So it's like you kind of get a little bit of both from me, I guess.
I do. I saw one video where actually at the beginning it said parental advisory.
Yeah. So
I was like, at least
probably,
you warn people. You're like,
yeah,
be warned.
that was probably the Big Bass Open, which is a tournament that we have up at my buddy's cabin every year. I think we're on 5 years. We filmed it every year. Production quality kind of gets a little better every year. That being said, we're up north in Minnesota and we were drinking alcohol. And whatever happens on that thing happens. So like, but it's I think there is a big audience on disc golf YouTube though that I think like once a year I post that video and they're like, man, this just reminds me of like my local league growing up. Like it really does have that grassroots feeling to it. And I've been playing disc golf for I think 17 years now. So I started in 5th grade. So I really try and like, although I take it very serious and I do play competitively and like I want this sport to like blow up and be huge, I still recognize like when I started playing, it's like the vibes of disc golf and your local league were like so much different. And I feel like that really shaped like my outlook on the game. And so I try and like represent that as well. Cause I think I'm one of the few newer creators, kind of how you were saying, like you stepped out of it. You're part of kind of that old school crew. A lot of the newer creators haven't actually been playing that long. Like Bedanza's only been playing for 3 to 4 years. Like a lot of the guys, whereas I've been playing my whole life. So I think I kind of can represent like a different perspective. And I try and show that in some videos.
Yeah, there was speaking of drinking while playing, there was an event out here in Pawhuska, Oklahoma called the Lodge Team Events. And the Lodge has 2 different courses, beautiful courses. And that's kind of where I got my start in disc golf. But they had the Lodge Team event, and every team had a bottle of Crown Royal. And the point was to be done with it by the time the end of the round. And by hole 14 or whatever you were pretty lit. And there was some crazy stuff. People, it was a weekend event, and some people would camp out and just party down on that Saturday. It was a Saturday, Sunday, and that Saturday night people would party. And there are some stories of people driving around on 4-wheelers drunk. It's stories you probably don't want people to know about, but it was fun.
Well, hey, if you're watching this and you ever played that event Bobby's talking about, go watch the Big Bass Open. You'll love it.
There you go. That's your style. There you go. Nice. So do you think, so you've been playing since, you said 17 years?
17 years, I think. I kind of lose the math because since 5th grade, though, I'm 28. Somebody maybe can, I think 17 years.
So do you think when you decided to pick up a camera and start videoing yourself doing disc golf, do you think it has changed the way you play? Do you, or not? Has it? How has it changed it?
So, like, I feel like I have a pretty well-rounded game. I have a forehand, backhand, power shots, touch shots, but at the heart and soul of it, I like throwing flippy mid-ranges and putters and finesse forehands that like Big Germ style. Like when Big Germ throws a mid-range forehand, in my mind, I'm like, that is the prettiest shot in the game. And so like 2 players that I've really like molded my game after is Kale LaVisca, his backhand, and then Jeremy Colling's sidearm, which in a way I feel like are the same, but one's backhand and one's sidearm. You know what I mean? Like very flip up, like touchy, but very controlled. And so I try and bring those 2 aspects. I guess what I'm getting at here is when I film, I want my videos to be as pretty as possible. I want them to look good. I want the shots to look good. So say I'm filming a course, whatever, and it's a wide open hole. A lot of people might be like, yeah, I'm going to throw, 300-foot wide open hole. They're like, I'm going to throw a Firebird hyzer, just pin it, done. I'm like, let me take my super, super beat up Buzz SS, throw it on hyzer out left and let it drift over an Annie and see if I can make that work. But then I'll be filming all week. I'll go play a tournament where there's that 300-foot wide open hole. And I'm like, I should probably throw the Firebird spike hyzer. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I've always enjoyed like the hyzer flip, touchy backhand stuff, but I also have a pretty good forehand. And so I guess I have this constant battle in my head of like, you're a tournament player also, so you have to keep those stock high percentage shots. But when I'm filming content, you're never really going to see me throw the stock high percentage shot. And I'm always trying to throw the prettiest shot possible. And it gets you in trouble sometimes. Also, I feel like I've gotten better at those shots because I've learned to like do them on command while on camera in a video that is going to be posted for thousands of people to see. So I almost feel like in a way it has made me better, but it's like completely changed like my shot selection. And also something I noticed that has got to be horrible is throwing and then immediately trying to move out of the way of the camera. And I find myself literally like in tournament throwing shots and like my form has almost changed to like the end of my form is now like moving off of the tee pad instead of like finishing my follow through. And I'm like, that can't be good for like, what are you doing? No one's filming. Like stay on the tee pad and follow through. So, yeah.
What if your card mates are like, what is he doing? Why is he? We don't care to see his throw. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So does that cause? Okay, so you trying to? So what I hear you saying is that when you're in a tournament, you're playing your shots for the most strategy. In other words, getting the disc where you want it to land. But when you're filming it, you want it to look the most cinematic because we all love watching a disc fly, especially when we see a disc flip over and come back. I mean, it's such a sweet thing to see that S curve. So how do you battle, or do you battle at all between showing your real shots in your content or the more cinematic shots? Do you find yourself rethrowing to make sure the shot looks good, or are you pretty good about showing the real throws?
I mean, it all depends on like what the what the actual video is. Like if I'm playing I guess it's like if I'm playing a practice round for a tournament, like I'll be like, hey guys, I got a tournament tomorrow. I'm going to play practice round. I'm going to throw 2 off at every tee. Then it's like, yeah, I'm showing the actual shots. But I do some videos that are like ASMR videos where it's, 15 minutes of not a single word. And those are ones where it's like, okay, I would say I'm lucky to be like my strong suit is throwing. When I'm playing good, I'm a pretty good thrower. So like I can usually do what I'm trying to do. But so if I'm filming that ASMR video and I drill first available, the point of that video isn't me playing an 18-hole round for score and trying to like shred. It's to throw the prettiest looking frame and shot. So like that might be one where I'm like, all right, I'll go rethrow that one. But like those videos aren't, hey guys, I'm taking score right now. Like they're fully like casual, I guess, So I kind of forget what your like original question was, but
do you find yourself, throwing it over and throwing a shot maybe over and over again to make sure you get that cinematic shot?
Oh, I guess not really. No, like I would say only in those like in the ASMR videos where like the whole point is that like it all looks pretty, but like I'm so lucky that like I swear I might be one of the people who like when you turn the camera on, I think I throw better almost. Like it something about it is like I'll throw these shots where I'm like, how'd you do that? And then they happen to be on camera. So I feel like I get away with like a lot of good shots that I was trying to throw, and I'm like, no, I just laced it, sick. Like this, makes my job easy, I guess.
Nice. I've learned to, I used to like warm up, do some warm up shots before I hit record. Now I've learned to hit record because sometimes a warm up shot, just like, okay, that's exactly what I wanted on camera. So I've
Yeah.
learned, like, even this morning I did that. I recorded every throw just in case it had that nice throw I was looking for. So what is kind of your process as far as like coming up with ideas, or when you get an idea, what's kind of walk me through the process between idea or coming up with ideas to actually getting out on the course and filming?
So I feel like that's changed a little bit over the last year, simply because I don't know, I guess my attitude towards disc golf content has definitely changed over the last year. When I first started doing this maybe 3 years ago, I felt like I had unlimited ideas. Like I was like, oh, there's just like everything. Like every day I would think of like three things. I'm like, I could film constantly. And, I definitely went through phases where I was posting 6 videos a week for months on end. And so like you kind of are in a way, like every idea you have, you're just making it, posting it. And I kind of got to a point where I got a little like burnt out of the actual ideas themselves. I think because I'd been in the sport so long, things started to not really interest me. A lot of like, a new disc would come out and it's very like new Simon line disc comes out, very low hanging fruit to go make a review on that. It's going to do good, guaranteed. I'm kind of at a point right now where I probably won't make that review because it just doesn't like interest me. And I'm in a weird spot where I'm like, I a lot of times right now, I just kind of go to the course and like see what happens. I think I'm maybe I'm one of the lucky creators that has built like my core audience, I think more based on like just like I said at the beginning, kind of just like we're hanging out. You're just kind of watching this video to watch it. And so like they almost don't need a topic, you know? So yeah, like I feel like I wish I had like a better answer for you right now, but I'm kind of on this wave of almost just going filming and knowing like my core audience is going to enjoy this, like because we're just playing disc golf. Like I have a video that I just filmed with my buddy last night. The title of it right now is literally just two buds out having fun times in the woods playing games. And the reason that that is the title is because my buddy Ethan like says that at the end of the video. And I think that kind of like speaks to like my idea making right now is like I have two sides of like core audience videos and then other videos of things that maybe really like catch my interest. Like I have a couple longer form videos that are going on kind of like like much longer processes of filming and editing. And I guess those are the ones that I'm putting a lot more thought process into. And those ones are a lot of time, and this is something new for me, I guess, which kind of, I guess, maybe good to like talk about is I've never like not, these aren't even fully scripted, but the idea is scripted out like in my notes. Like I have the topic and then I'll have like, okay, this is what I want the intro to kind of be. This is what I want like act one to be. This is what I want act two to be. This is what I want the ending to be. And I'm finally trying to make like, I almost call it like actual YouTube content. You know, like I feel like anyone who has consumed enough of like how to make YouTube video content knows like there is a formula to like making a YouTube video. And just in the last month or two, I've finally taken the steps to like dial it back and not feel so rushed all the time and like spend a couple weeks on a video and like really like get into the process of like the storyline and like taking multiple days to film, going to multiple courses to get the shots you want, and really making like a good finished product rather than I feel like a lot of disc golf content is just go to the course, 2 hours later, you're done filming, go home, edit it, upload it, boom. You like your videos are a 1 day process a lot of times and it's done. And I'm a lot more fulfilled on like the creative side of these longer form videos. And I'm trying to get away from the like machine that is disc golf YouTube of feeling like we have to post 5, 6, 7 times a week just to like make it a thing, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I'm so scatterbrained, so like that might have answered your question, but
No, it did. No, it's interesting because it is a journey that I've gone through, and I know a lot of people where, I mean, I remember back in the day, I was so excited, and I was like, idea after idea, we're publishing, 2 or 3 videos a week, and then you do kind of get kind of a burnout because there is a lot to it. You get excited, and it's like the ideas are just filling your head, and they come one right after the other, and then once you're done, then it's like, oh yeah, this is where the real work kicks. I mean, it's all work, but like it really is a lot of work to say, okay, what's the next idea? Especially when you're trying to chase views and stuff like that. And then I know another thing I had was you mentioned some people like the super fast edits, and I've heard it called the Mr. Beastification to video editing, and I think that I think people are feeling a little bit of a fatigue. Like they're tired, it's like their brain it's exciting, it's nice, and it fulfills that novelty dopamine hit. But then after a while, you're like, I just want to chill and just watch somebody play some disc golf. And I think that's where yours kind of hit that. It's like, I don't want the constant barrage of edits. I just want to watch someone having a good time doing something that I love doing as well. So I think that's great. And that's what I'm trying to figure out with our YouTube channel is like, where do we fit in? We have such a large subscriber base, but I'm challenged with our view numbers because I think we're having to reteach our subscribers what we're all about. So anyway, that's kind of a tangent for me. So as far as like, you said you kind of like the vibe you like, just kind of the hanging out, but some people obviously don't probably like that type. And I'm sure you probably I don't know how you are as far as like reading comments and when people engage with you. How do you deal with the comments that you get, maybe some unexpected comments?
So like I'm still like I read every single comment. I actually for probably the first 2 years, I replied to every single comment I ever got on a YouTube video. And for some people that might not be a ton in their first 2 years, but I had this crazy engagement percentage where like I would get a video with 1,000 views and it would have 100 comments. So like I would like early on the engagement numbers on my videos were like absurd, and I would reply to every single one of them. I also think I'm in the like I get lucky to where I bet 1 out of every 50 comments is negative on my videos. Like I almost get like almost no hate other than the way I dress. That is the only thing that people like cannot handle is like that my shorts are too short or I wear white socks that are like just your normal like mid like it's just like the most stupid stuff that in my mind I'm like okay, but like this doesn't matter. So like in 10 minutes, like I forget about it. Sometimes I don't know, the comments are something that like they get to me, but I think I have a quick or what was it, a quick memory or whatever. Like I forget about it fast. And so I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm very, very lucky to just like have almost really gotten like just a very small percentage of hate. And when I do, it's like, yeah, some stuff might bother me like right away. But like in a half an hour, I literally forgot that it even exists. So like you just kind of move on from it. I also think maybe one thing that's helped, and I feel like I've talked about this in a few videos over the last like 6 months and just like with some other people, is that content forever. I think content overall is usually just somebody giving their opinion on something, which everyone has an opinion. That's totally cool. But I think disc golf YouTube kind of got to a point where everyone felt the need to have an opinion on everything that happened. Like if this new disc comes out, if this event had something crazy happen, if this, whatever it is, everyone needed an opinion. And I was so sick of giving my opinion because I felt like I was part of that, like, I'm like, we're all just sitting here giving our kind of useless opinion on all this stuff. It's like, guys, we're just throwing frisbees. Like, we're just literally playing disc golf. And so I kind of dialed back the opinions and just made it much less like, I'm not really giving opinions. I'm just hanging out playing disc golf. Like, and so there was less for people to kind of combat with me, like they're really, I almost don't give people things to like disagree with, because the takes that I have nowadays, I feel like are just very like more neutral, just kind of like, hey, this is what's going on, like, and I don't know, I just don't give them really anything to even work with, because I just realized it doesn't matter. It just was so like burnt out for me. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been on like a few podcasts, and they always feel like most people ask me that, like the comment, like, how do you deal with the comments? And I've always kind of had the same answer of just like, I got lucky, where it's just such a small percentage that like, it's my comments, I feel like, are so positive overall. It's like a really good community. So
That's good.
yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk at camera gear. What did you start out with, and what are you using now?
So I started out with a Sony A6300 with the Rode Wireless Go 2s, maybe. I never remember. I feel like they got like 10 names on them. So I actually had I call it like a videography background before I started doing this, because, and I give it the finger quotes, because basically what happened is in 2020, me and a few friends were like, I'm from Minnesota. That's where I grew up, whatever. And we're like, let's move to Arizona. I was like, let's, try something. Let's figure it out. I don't know. I want to do something. And then I was like, I've never owned a camera. I've never even taken a like, I've always kind of been the guy who was like taking iPhone, like making Instagram stuff like way back when it first started, whatever. But like, I had never had a camera or anything. And I was like, I'm going to move to Arizona. I'm going to become a videographer. I didn't even know what that meant at that point. I moved there. I somehow meet some buddies at the gym that I was going to who like were full-time videographers in like the Phoenix metro area. One of them has like his like third string camera, Sony A6300. He's like, I'll sell it to you for, he literally sold it to me for like $250. He kind of like hooked it up. I was like, sounds good. I'll buy it. Get that. I do freelance videography for a couple years, and basically I was good enough at talking to people to like sell them a service that almost didn't exist, and I would just YouTube everything and figure it out, and never got a complaint. So I guess it kind of worked. And I did that for a couple years, and then I really got burnt out of like the like making content for other people. And so I moved to Nashville because I think maybe this will help. Maybe this will make me figure it out. And so I don't have a job. I was like living on savings. And then I'm like, okay, let me play disc golf. I was playing disc golf every day because I didn't have a job. That's all I would do. And then one day I was like, I have all this camera gear. It's pretty good camera gear. Like, I'm like, I'll start filming this. And so I started filming, and I forget if it was I think it was like my 7th, maybe my 9th ever video. It was me and my buddy Ethan, we made like a review of the out of production Discraft Pulse, because it was a video or a disc that we had growing up that we loved. It had a little thumb track thing. And I had found 2 of them on Facebook Marketplace. A dude was selling for $5. They were like in mint condition. Bought those. We make a review. The review, or not even like a review, we were just out playing with them, whatever. But the video gets 1,000 views in 1 week. And that was my first time ever getting 1,000 views. And I was like, oh, okay, this is my job now. Cool. Like, I was like, that's kind of what I got. So back to your original question, I had the A6300. And at the time, funny enough, I bought the A6300 for like $250, but I actually kind of splurged on a Sony 18-105 like power zoom lens, like an APS-C lens, pretty solid disc golf lens. And so that definitely made like the quality a lot better. and then had the wireless mics and used that for, I bet I filmed 250 videos on it maybe. And then honestly, I probably never would have upgraded unless I was in Arizona a couple winters ago and it kept overheating, even in like 80 degrees and sunny, but like it kept overheating. So I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. I had another buddy who had bought an A6400, big upgrade, like barely, but it was newer
Yeah.
and the battery life was better. So I ended up buying that from him. So basically, they're almost the same exact camera. The one just like had better battery life, really, is all it was. I started using that, filmed probably another 200 videos on that. And then actually, like literally a week and a half ago, I I only buy, this is how you know I grew up like with not much money and buying stuff at thrift stores. I've never bought any new camera gear really. Everything I just buy from friends that don't want it anymore. So I buy another Sony ZV-E10. Basically it's like kind of the same level camera, but it has a flip out screen, which the cameras I had been using before did not have. And so the flip out screen has been like a game changer, just being able to actually like see myself in front of the camera. And then right now I'm using the Sony 18 to 135, just the kit lens actually that comes with the A6400. But honestly, for disc golf, for like a mid-level, like, you could probably get the setup for maybe $1,500, $1,300. Like it's a pretty good lens. And then, so yeah, that's what I'm using right now. The Sony ZV-E10 and then 18 to 135. Usually have an ND filter on there. If it's overcast, I actually use a Pro Mist filter, make it look nice and kind of cinematic, I guess. And then, yeah, so like nothing super fancy. I don't know if I think I'd have to be like making so much more money to buy like a full frame setup, like like a $6,000-$7,000 setup. That just seems crazy to me right now. So I'll probably just keep working with what I got. But what do you guys use, or what do you use?
Well, I use a Osmo Pocket 3, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I use that a
Oh,
little
are
bit. In fact,
you?
I'm using it. Yeah, I'm using it right now because you
Oh,
can use it as a webcam.
wow.
I like because it has this. The top of it spins around, so I can actually my viewfinder I can watch as I'm filming, which I really like. And then for pictures, I use the Sony what is it, A7 III. And I've used
Nice.
that for video as well. I'm with you. I hate not being able to, if I'm filming myself, I got to see myself. I got to see what's in frame,
Yeah.
and that
Because
viewfinder
the
doesn't flip
A7
around.
III just has the one that flips up, but it's
Up,
like
right?
not really, like you can't actually, like I don't understand how that design ever like made it through. Like it's
No.
pointless almost. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, why don't you read the room, Sony, with your vloggers? They want to
Yeah.
see themselves.
Yeah. What,
So,
like,
and then
literally.
for my run-and gun, I have a Canon Vixia. I can't remember the number of it, but it's just the small,
Oh,
compact
like
little
the,
run-and.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a smaller one. It's kind of in between like a professional and just a casual
Hmm.
one. And I find that one's getting a little outdated because even this little Osmo has a bigger sensor, so the picture's a little more sharper.
Yeah.
And then, of course, for B-roll, sometimes I just grab my iPhone and do some B-roll with the iPhone,
Yeah.
which is got a
I'm,
really
I'm
fantastic
kind of one
camera.
of those, like, I also don't have, I think I still have like the 13 Pro iPhone, but I'm one of those like snobs where I can tell it's iPhone footage immediately, and I just like don't like how it looks. I'm just like, no, I like refuse to film on my iPhone. Like the only time I've ever filmed a video on my iPhone, I filmed two videos. I did Vlogmas a couple years ago, and I broke my lens with 2 days left. So I had to film
Oh,
two
God.
videos with the iPhone, and I was just like, I hate this. Like, even though nobody probably noticed besides me,
Yeah.
like everything's just like for me. I'm just like, no, I can't have that.
Yeah. So when you did the freelancing in Arizona, like, did you just do whatever people asked you to do, or was there a specific?
Kinda, yeah. Like I did a lot of like fitness stuff. I used to be like
Yeah.
used to do like personal training and stuff. And then, so I was always in gyms, and then, you know, gym people want their videos taken. So you start doing that. And then back in 2020, when like the world was affordable,
Yeah.
you know, videography rates, even when you're starting out, it's like I could make like more money than I'd ever made in like 1 month from
Yeah.
doing like some videos. And I was like, this is insane. And, you know, now I look back on some of that stuff I did, I'm like, this is the worst stuff I've ever seen. But back
Now, what
then,
is some
like
of
the bar has gone so much higher in the last,
yeah.
you know, 5, 6 years. It's insane. But
So
yeah.
what did you
So,
learn doing that you now bring into your YouTube, your disc golf YouTube?
so to be honest, I feel like all I really knew was I knew how to use the settings I knew how to shoot in manual on a camera, which I
Yeah.
think separate is like a lot of people think they're going to get a camera and it'll look really good. Whereas if you don't know how to use a camera, it's going to look significantly worse than your iPhone does. But if
Right.
you know how to use a camera, it's going to look, in my opinion, significantly better. So
Yeah.
literally I knew how to shoot in manual. I knew how to like work the settings, and then I already knew how to use Final Cut Pro. That's kind of it, really. But back in, you know, 2021, 2022 in disc golf, if you knew how to use a camera, you were kind of still ahead of the game a little bit, you
Yeah.
know? So like I think right away the production quality, like, kind of, people are like, oh, this looks a little better than most people. You know, like I think Foundation at the time, I'm sure their stuff already looked good. I'm sure like maybe at the brands actually, like at DD, at Discmania, at whatever, they probably had actual media people making like higher quality. But in terms of like creators, I might have been like one of the only ones who like knew how to use a camera. And then
Yeah.
like, so I think that kind of like gave me the upper hand immediately, where my first videos were probably better than they would have been if I went in with no knowledge, you know?
Yeah. So you earlier you mentioned like that content has gotten better and better and better. How does that affect how you are going to move forward with your content? I guess what is kind of the plans with your Are you just going to like go until you can't go anymore? What's kind of your plan
Yeah.
there?
That's the question, because that is so honestly, that's what I wake up every day, and that's the first thing I think about every day for the last like year, because, you know, disc golf's in such a good spot, but also such a weird spot. And there's money to be made, but I feel like you got to be very business minded. And I am not business minded. I'm very much like, make the art and hopefully people come. And unfortunately, that doesn't always work out. And I really don't have an answer for your question, because that's the question I ask myself like every day. But I'm trying to, like I kind of touched on, is like I'm trying to make more like in-depth videos right now, a little more like, not like all my videos are long form, but I call them like long form videos because they're like more of like a process and more of like a story and more, just more to them. The weird thing in disc golf though, it's like you can put so much into a video and the return will be the same as going and reviewing the new disc on the market. You know, and so it's so weird. Like I'll spend a week on a video, and then I'll spend 1 hour on a video, and the 1 hour video makes me twice as much money and does twice as much views, and I'm just like, so I don't know. I'm trying to like figure out. I really am trying to figure out that like next move of, I know I can't make 5, 6 videos a week. I haven't been doing that in a long time because I realized I just couldn't. But it really is like that kind of like the business aspect of like, all right, how can I continue to make this a career and like grow and like make more money and like make it sustainable basically. And if somebody has the answer, let me know. Comment down below. Because, dude, I don't know. It's a weird spot right now. You
It
know,
is. Disc
like,
golf is in a weird spot because, I mean, before the whole pandemic, It feels like we're kind of back to where we're steadily growing. How do we get bigger? And then the pandemic, and we exploded. And then all of a sudden, it's just like now it's being, well, it feels like we're steadying out, but it got deflated pretty big after the pandemic kind of settled.
I always like to think of it as, I think Hunter from Foundation has said this in a few things where it's like, okay, this is where we were pre-pandemic. This is where we were peak pandemic. This is where we are now.
Yeah.
So if you really look at it, we're still way up, and I try and look at it as like, yeah, we might not be at the peak, but we're still so far up from pre-2020 that like, I try and look at it that way, because I feel like if I just looked at it as like, oh God, everything's crashing and burning, I'd be like, you'd be like, what am I even doing?
Yeah, no, it feels like we're just leveling back to where we need to be, rather than trying to get to that explosive growth. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like things like this are good, like me and you talking right now, because it's disc golf. I think it's probably every genre, niche, whatever you want to call it, but it's like the creators all need to like be on the same team, really. If one person like breaks through, that's a good thing for all of us. Like I had this conversation, me and Bedanza, we've been pretty good buddies since we both first started. We both kind of started around the same time. And I remember a phone call that we had. I had like 1,000 subscribers. This was probably about 3 years ago. He had maybe I feel like he had maybe I had 3,000. He had like 10,000. So like a fraction of like where now. And we got on a phone call. It was like our first time talking. And we just talked about how like the only way we're making this work is if we all work together, and from like day one, we've all been like, guys, we need to like figure this out together, because we all want to do this. We all want to make a career out of this. But like right now there is no blueprint. So we need to figure out the blueprint. And hasn't been easy, but I don't know, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. What I find interesting is like, I mean, I've read different articles and I've seen different people talk about when they ask kids, what do you want to be? And when they put YouTuber down, it's just amazing to think that this could be something that people strive to be as a career. Mm-hmm. With that being said, if someone were to ask you, or what are some of the misconceptions do you think people need to know about?
That's a good one. And I kind of get this question a lot, because I feel like, I mean, maybe all the creators, I'm sure a lot of the creators get this message a lot, but it's hey man, you inspired me to start making content. What camera gear should I get? What mic should I get? Like, what can I do to start out? How should I go about it? And a lot of times the question is also like, how do I come up with like good ideas? And I think some of the questions, okay, like if you don't know anything about gear, here's a few, try this out, blah, blah, blah. But it's an investment initially. But I think a lot of times it's all like, you have to actually enjoy the process. And disc golf for me has been something I've done my whole life, pretty much. And I'd be lying if I said like doing this full time hasn't at some points taken like a little bit of that joy away, where I'm working one week being like, all right, I got to get these videos out. And you're just like, this isn't really fun this week. Like I went and filmed a video 2 days ago. It was like 40 degrees and raining. And I was like, but I'm like, I have to do this. Like I just like have to go. Like, so I just did it. And it's, you have to have like the passion for it. You also have to be realistic, I think, about how like, you're probably not always going to enjoy it, and it might turn like your favorite thing to do. It might take the thing that you do to like make yourself the happiest. It might change that relationship you have with it. And I guess if we're talking like YouTube overall, like maybe you can go be a different style of YouTuber. But if we're talking like disc golf, I think for a lot of people, like if I was being totally honest with a lot of people, I'd say, hey man, just keep posting on Instagram, have fun with it. Maybe you get to the point where companies send you some free discs, and that's super cool, and you get to be part of this community. But I'm like, if you really want to try and like make the YouTube like full-time creator thing a thing, like the amount of hours I feel like that you have to put in to make like dollars per hour like is, I think, something that a lot of people probably don't realize. And I think you just have to enjoy the process. If you're not the type of person who like enjoys making the videos and enjoys the whole process, and it's not going to be all the time. There's going to be times when you don't enjoy it. But like for the most part, if that's not you, then I think you're really just like seeing like maybe the glamour of it and thinking like, oh, I want to do that. But like, it's so much time and so much like mental like energy put into it. And I don't know, that's a thing that I struggle with a lot, is like the idea of, okay, disc golf's just like been my favorite thing to do my whole entire life. And now it's like the only thing that I think about because it's my job. And some days I'm like, man, I wish I could just like go play and like disassociate the idea that like I've gone through a lot of phases where I feel guilty to play disc golf if I'm not filming it, because I feel like I'm literally like burning money. Like, I'm like, bro, if you just filmed this, you make more money. That's how it works. But you're just like choosing not to. I'm like, what are you doing? But then it's like, yeah, but I haven't played a casual round in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I don't know. It's tricky. I think to make it simple, you gotta have the passion. You gotta like enjoy the process of making the videos. But I also think if you're asking somebody like, hey man, I want to make YouTube videos about disc golf, what should I make them about? Or what could I do to set myself apart? Maybe it's not for you, because I think those questions should maybe already be answered for you of like, I want to make this. It's okay if you're like, hey, I want to make this. This is the ideas I have. These are the plans I have. But hey, I need a little help on the camera gear. What should I use? I'm like, okay, you know what you want. Like, I can help you set up your camera, but I can't help you come up with the ideas. Because that's you. And if it's an idea that comes from me, you're probably not passionate about that idea.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I get messages on Instagram, people saying, hey, I just found out disc golf. I love it. I think it's amazing. I started a YouTube channel, or I started an Instagram page. Can you send me some gear? And I'm like, I get it. That's in my mind. I'm thinking, I get it. That's what helps you create content. You're excited, which is fantastic. And then I go check out their channel, and they've got maybe 3 videos or 10 posts on Instagram. I'm like, I want to say, come back to me when you have about 30 or 40 videos. You've been doing it for about a year. And then if you're still passionate about it, maybe we can talk. But, a lot of people, they fizzle out pretty fast when they realize that the fun turns into work, and it's actual work. And then they lose the fun out of it, and then they kind of move on. So,
and I think another like good aspect to like touch on is it's all about what you want out of it.
Yeah.
Like if all you want out of it is to have, if like the video making is just for fun to you, have at it, because that means the views don't matter. That means nothing matters besides you just like maybe getting out with your buddies, filming around. And at the very least, when you guys are 70 years old, you can go watch the videos and be like, oh, that was so fun. But if you're going into it with the idea that like, I want to make this my job, well, you got to like you got to really, it's a different mindset depending on what you want out of it. So,
yeah.
How are you, what are you most excited for right now? I know it's funny because like you gave me your whole intro at the beginning of the thing, but it's like, trust me, like I've seen about every disc golf video there is on YouTube. Like me and my buddies back in middle school used to sit in the basement and like watch every single disc golf video. So it's like, I've seen them all, I've seen Disc Golf Answer Man way back in the day. I've seen Disc Golf Weekly. I've seen, my favorites are the Mark Ellis Discraft instructional clinics. I don't know if you ever saw those. Mark Ellis I'm gonna throw my rattler on forehand. But I don't know. I guess what are you excited for? Because you've been part of this. Like, you've been making this content for so long, and obviously it's so different now.
I'm just excited that it's becoming even more a thing where around the content creation part, right? When I first approached Jeremy and said, "Hey, do you find any value in someone coming out and filming your tournaments and taking photos?" And he was like, "Yeah, come on out," and I did it. And then he saw people watching it, and so he was like, "Okay, this is something we should do." But then when I was like trying to talk him into hiring me full time, he was like, "Do you think you'll have enough to do? I mean, would you pull an order if we needed you to?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd pull an order. I'd do anything to be able to do this." And by the time I left, it was me and 2 full-time content creators and a part-time content creator, and I was trying to get her to come on full-time. So it's exciting to see, though, that other companies and people are seeing that there's a world that you can create content and it's in disc golf. So you can kind of join 2 passions that you have. And I mean, as I read more about social media and the growth about the creator economy, where the average person is going to become someone that can just make a little bit of extra money off creating content, it's exciting to see that happening in disc golf. Like I said earlier, like before it was just all the touring pros that people were after. Now they're following people that just want to have fun and play disc golf, which I think is really cool. I'm having to, the big thing I'm learning, I mean, I'm an old guy. I know that young guys aren't going to want to watch me to play. Then, maybe I'll act a little goofy and stuff like that, and people will find it funny. But they're going to watch you guys or Jay Milley or the Bodanza, because that's just how it works. But I like that there still feels like a niche of the older guys that just want to go play on the weekend. They want to throw a disc really well. They don't care if they make the tour. They don't care if they're winning at tournaments. They just want to go play, and they want their discs to fly right when they throw. They don't want it to, dump left every time. And so I'm starting to learn to kind of lean into that more rather than being, they're going to, laugh at this big old guy trying to play some disc golf. So I'm excited about that there's different pockets within disc golf that still make it worthwhile to get out there and create content. And just this morning, I was frustrated because I went to the course that I had laid out in my head. I'm doing stuff with the drift plastic, so I had a pond nearby and I had an open field, and I get out there as I'm putting my gear out and getting things ready, and I look up and 3 big trucks come in, and it's got lawnmowers and weed eaters and everything. And all these people jump out and they start doing their thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm thinking, okay, I've got this interview at 11:30, so I was like, I got time to go to this other course. So I went to this other course, and I was frustrated, and I set up and I had to pause and go, okay, wait. I'm literally outside doing my job, what I love doing. I'm here, it's not what I thought, but this course will work out just fine. And I get to do this. I get to throw discs and talk about them, and I'm getting paid to do it. So There are times, kind of to what you said, as far as it feels like work, but for me, there's times I do have to kind of pause and say, I could be stuck behind a desk typing away and never get outside, so I'm excited to be back and be able to do that. That's what has me excited. And then watching you guys, I know it feels weird to say you guys, but like, in all honesty, what you guys, what I did back in the day, right? I was creating content and putting stuff out there. I got a job doing it, and I know Jay Milley just announced that he's now going to do full time, and I'm like, this is fantastic that it's still an industry where people can actually make money doing it, and so that has me excited.
Yeah, I like what you touched on is because I had literally almost the same experience yesterday. I waited out a leaf blower for 10 minutes. And it was just you get to the hole, you hear brrr, and you're like, bro. But then I kind of had the same realization though. It was it wasn't that nice out actually, but I kind of just stood there and I was like, I'll just wait. I'm like, it's a nice fall day. Why am I I got nowhere to be. Whatever, I was like, this is fine. Like,
Well, it was kind of comical because when I was at the field, there was a huge, obviously a huge lawnmower guy's riding it, and I was like, well, maybe I can wait him out. But then he starts going the wrong way, and I'm like, he's just started, crap. And then I went over to the pond, and I thought, well, I'll record the little segment with the floating discs. So I grabbed my camera. I had to walk all the way from a car, grab my camera, put it up. I get set up, and all of a sudden, this guy walks around the corner and starts weed eating the edge of the pond. I'm like, are you kidding me? So anyway, yeah, that gets me excited. So you already kind of did, but what I've been asking people that I interview, I say, what's a question that you maybe want to ask me about anything with dynamic discs or content creation, just if you've ever thought about asking somebody that works in the industry a question, if you had a question for me, what would it be?
what's when you started consuming this new wave of content, what are maybe like a few things that stuck out that you saw that were like major differences versus like all the channels that were kind of going, 20 teens era?
That's a great question. What do you think? The first thing that jumps in my mind is that even though there are still some tutorial style videos, I think back in the day, that was the big thing, is that a lot of companies wanted to put tutorials out because when you first discovered disc golf and you start learning it, it was like, and that was my objective. If you started saying how to throw farther, how to do this, I wanted you to discover a dynamic discs video. And then when we had Danny creating those videos, we were accomplishing that. I mean, he was pumping out some amazing instructional videos. Mm-hmm. But now I notice it's just, there's more of a style first, and then it's disc golf, rather than it was like, teach people about your disc, teach people how to throw the disc, and then there was, of course, tournament coverage, watch this tournament, watch your favorite players. But now it's like a style, Jay Milley has a style, Silas has a style, you have a style. So that was the biggest thing I noticed, which is exciting, that the style of the content was the top main theme, and then disc golf just happened to be the background for that style.
Yeah, that's interesting you touch on that, because that's always been a thing from day one, is that like I almost want like disc golf to be like secondary. Like, you're watching this to just hang out with me for 20 minutes, and I just happen to be disc golfing, which you also probably really enjoy, because that's probably why you found this channel. But like that, I can totally, I've never had somebody else like put it that way, of like, it's like, you like, to really be a successful creator, you need people to like you and like want to watch you, and then whatever you're doing, cool. And so it's good, kind of good confirmation, I guess, to almost hear that like you recognize that.
Yeah, another way to put it is personality, right? I think that was the thing we noticed back in the day was, we didn't have all the top players, but people loved the personalities. They loved our person. Some people hated me. Some people liked me. Some people would like Eric. Some people liked Robert McCall, so they were able to connect with the personality they like. Yeah, people, we were talking about comments before. One that always makes me laugh is the one guy literally said, "You're the worst thing that happened to dynamic discs. You should be fired." And it was the comments on there. I was like, "Oh, bro." So anyway, yeah, that's what I noticed big time. It was more about the personality. People connected with your personality, and then the other connection was we both like disc golf. I like disc golf. You like disc golf. I watch you play disc golf, which I think is great.
Yeah, so that also is definitely like a direction. Like, I've done like some videos in the past where like there is no disc golf. It's whether it's like a vlog or whatever, and that is something that I want to like do more of, because I know in the long run, it's like if you can broaden your horizons and do more and not have to be at a disc golf course, every day of the week, like it's gonna create more, at least like for the creator, you're able to kind of separate that one thing and do more and have more people from maybe outside just that core disc golf audience become part of your audience. And maybe they start playing disc golf because they're like, wait, I saw this guy in a vlog, but he also plays, let me go try that, or let me, so like I think there's a point where you kind of do maybe need to branch out, because disc golf is only so big. And I think having that personality first is kind of like you have to have that in order to try and do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Broderick. This was fun. It was good to get to know you. And I agree with you. The content creators definitely need to kind of even learn from each other. Like, hey, I tried this. I thought it worked. It was really cool. So I think when, like you said, when a couple of you do good, everybody does good, because that just makes people want to watch more disc golf content. So I appreciate that. And just in case, if any of our followers, I'm sure they know where to find you, but let us know where they can follow you and find you online.
Yeah, YouTube is just Broderic, has period at the end. If you type disc golf after it, it'll definitely come up. I think it might come up now if you just type my name in. Broderic. And then Instagram is _Broderic_. And I think that's all I have. It's just Instagram and YouTube. But,
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.